I don't get down on the allotment very much at this time of year, too many other things to do, but when it's a sunny and windy day like it is today, it's a perfect opportunity to do a few jobs. The first one that I do is I like to get this calcium supplement. I think it's Chempac, I think that the stuff that I use, on the lettuces. Now the reason I do that is because I noticed, particularly on some varieties, and the worst offender is the Grenoble Red or Red Grenoble, you get this tip burn on it in winter. Now I put this down to a calcium shortage because when the soil's cold, the ability of the lettuce to uptake calcium that's in the soil reduces, and you get this tip burn. It's like a dieback on the tips of the leaves. I can't show you right now because I'm trying to prevent it. But when I water with this, just water onto the leaves, you could spray it as well with a sprayer. It just gives them that calcium boost that they can't get naturally from the soil, and that's why you've got to use something like this Chempac stuff. That's the only actual artificial fertiliser that I use, but it's only calcium, so it's not anything to worry about. Anyway, I use that, and I've got a lot of lettuce beds, and so I want to make sure that I'm not losing a lot. And they tend to get this tip burn in the hearts of the lettuces, the very new small leaves, which is the very worst place because then they die back and rot, and then you can lose the heart of the lettuce, so you can lose the whole plant. So it's definitely worth doing if you have the problem. Now you might not have the problem, it depends I think on the sort of soil you've got and the varieties of lettuce that you grow, and probably lots of other things that I don't understand. So that's the first thing, 5 grams in 5 litres. So the second thing that I like to do is spray all the polythene on the north side of my covers and polytunnel. That gets a lot of green algae build-up, and at this time of year and going into winter obviously, the last thing you want is any reduction in light. So I will be scrubbing. I've sprayed on, what is it called? I'll get it anyway, show you. It's called Algon or something like that. I spray that on, and because it's nice and windy, so it dries. It needs to dry before the rain, so it doesn't get washed off. And that kills the algae, and then I'll give it a good scrub and get rid of it all next sunny day basically. It takes about a couple of weeks probably before I'll get that cleaned off. Obviously you want to make sure that your gutters are disconnected, so you're not getting it into your water butts and things like that. And I spray all my low tunnels and cold frame tops and everything basically. I don't want to get it on any of the plants, but fortunately most of it is on the outside rather than the inside of the covers, so it's not a problem. So what else do? Just give things a general water. So I really want to make sure at this time of year, and again going into winter, that I don't leave leaves wet overnight. So a sunny windy day is absolutely perfect for me. I can get everything watered, and by the end of the day basically all the leaves have dried off, the soil surface is probably dried off as well. All that water has seeped down into the root zone of the plants, and at this time of year I am trying to keep the beds reasonably well hydrated. I don't want them sodden, but I don't want them to dry out, and that's because as I get closer and closer to winter I water less and less. So by about the 10th of December, probably something like that, I'll stop watering, and maybe even a little bit before that. It depends a lot on the weather, and then I won't water again until sort of the middle of February, because there'll be enough water in the ground for those plants. They won't need any more. And basically what I'm trying to keep the tops of the plants as dry as possible to reduce disease in the main. And the worst offender really disease wise is stem rot. So if you can keep the stems of lettuces and spinach and things like that nice and dry over winter, then you won't lose very many plants. The other thing is to not harvest too regularly. So it is tempting to harvest each plant every week, something like that. I try to not do that. I try to harvest a third of the plants every week. So I'm harvesting each plant once every 3-week period. And that just gives the plants more chance, I think, to recover from the wounds that you're inflicting without getting infection in those wounds, because obviously every time you remove a leaf you're wounding the plant. So that, I think, is pretty much everything that I'm doing today. quick video. My name is Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.